Hello students. Today let's discuss the previously asked questions that we are already discussing from yesterday. So in this case, first of all, we are just taking the concept to cases like the question that is asked from the derivations and the theoretical approach. So in that section, we have just discussed how to prove the reflection and refraction laws with the help of wave concept of eigens, and there we have proved that with the help of wave theory and with the help of the construction of wavefront. Second thing that that is important here, uh, interference of light waves. So whenever two or more light waves are superimposing over each other, then that time due to their superposition, interference phenomena will develop if some of the conditions are fulfilled here. Like first condition is that the source that are emitting the light waves and that light waves are superimposing over each other, that sources should be coherent in nature. It means that they should emit the same frequency of light, and also the phase difference between the light waves that should be constant with time and space, or you can also say that the phase difference between them that can be zero or that can be constant. So this is the basic and necessary property to get the interference pattern or interference phenomena. So basically what is interference phenomena here? Whenever two or more light waves of same frequency and a constant phase difference are they are superimposing over each other, then after their superposition there is redistribution of energy takes place. Means at some points maximum energy is distributed, and some point minimum energy is distributed. In this way we are getting just dark bright type patterns, and that are known as interference fringes. So this is the basic concept, and we have already discussed that what is the need of coherent sources for the production of interference pattern. And reason is that without a constant phase difference and without constant equal frequency, we cannot get any types of interference pattern. We have already discussed these things in wave motion in class 11. So I think again you know already these things. Next thing, like some of the conditions that we are needed here, the sources that we are taking, the difference between that two sources, or you can simply say that the distance between that two sources that should not be very greater. Means we have to put the two sources close to each other. The next factor is that the distance between source and screen that should be large in comparison to the distance between sources. Next thing here, basically the sources that we are taking, that should be narrow, otherwise the light will obviously light have the nature to disperse. So automatically the light that are coinciding with each other, then after coinciding point or after interference we will not get the sharp interference pattern, so that will be hard to detect that particular pattern. So that's why we are taking the light wave to make it intense, the narrow sources we are taking, or you can say that we are taking basically the point sources, or if we are just making the slit, then we put the slit difference slit width, or you can say that that is very small in comparison to the distance between the sources. Also in this case basically the slit width we are taking, that is less than or smaller than the wavelength of light, and later in the diffraction pattern we will see this condition there also. So I think now this is clear what are the conditions that are necessary for the production of sustainable and well-defined interference pattern. So here two words we have, that is sustainable and well-defined. So well-defined means perfect orderly arranged interference pattern, means the interference pattern that we can detect, we can see, that is the well-defined interference pattern. And sustainable interference pattern means an intense interference pattern that we can get. So simple, if we have to study the interference pattern, their positions, their intensity, whatever their energy, then for that cases we need to produce the in simple the interference pattern that should be sharp in nature. So simple that for that condition we are taking the frequencies of two sources that exactly equal, and also the phase between them, that is always their difference is always constant. The third factor, that here it is not compulsory to take the amplitudes equal, but still if we will take the amplitudes of the sources that or wave that is emitting by the sources that is equal, then that time interference pattern will be more intense. So here first question that is important, that is asked, what is the coherent addition of the sources? So simple, here we will we are studying the case of interference pattern or interfering term that is arising due to the coherency term or due to the waves in which we are taking a constant phase difference and equal frequency. So suppose for example we have two waves, and we can just show the displacement equations of that two waves by the y1 is equal to, suppose A, I am taking A is the amplitude of first wave, and this is sine omega t. For first wave only I am taking this, and this is the frequency. Second wave that has amplitude B, and this is omega t plus phi. So as in these two waves, phi is a constant phase difference. So these two waves are coherent waves. They have equal frequencies. They have slightly different amplitudes here. Now we can find out what will be the intensity of first light wave. So intensity, you know that is directly proportional to the amplitude square of the amplitude. So if you will just take the proportionality constant, then we will get propagation constant. As these two waves are propagating in the same direction, then here propagation constant will be same for both of them. So this will be equal to I1 is equal to K square, and here this will be I2 is equal to KB square. So these two intensities that we are getting, and now they are allowing to superimpose over each other. Then after superposition, what will be the resultant intensity that we can find, and you know that the resultant intensity I, this will be also proportional to the sum of amplitudes of these two waves. So this will be equal to, I is directly proportional to A plus B whole square. Now we can just open this. So this will be equal to Ka square, this is Kb square, plus this will be equal to 2Ab into K here. So in place of Ka square, we can write here this is I1. In place of Kb, we can write I2, and also in place of root Kb, we can write root I2. In place of root Ka, then root K into A, we can write root I1. So simple, here you can see that we can write this K as this way, and this will be root I1, this will be root I2. So simple, in this place we can write root I1 I2. So I think now this factor is clear. So in this whole term, as we are seeing that this resultant intensity has two different terms. One is I1, I2, and third is this term 2 root I1 and I2. So in this case, simple, if we are taking incoherent waves, incoherent wave means simple the waves that has different frequencies, that have different phase difference, then in that case whenever they will superimpose over each other, simply we are getting the resultant intensity, that is algebraic sum of the intensities of that two light waves. Means simple, we will get I1 plus I2. Here we are getting some different terms, that is root I1 I2. So this term is obtained due to the reason that the phase due to the reason of the constant phase difference between two light waves. So this term is known as interfering terms here. So this interfering term simple, that arises only when we have the coherent sources. So for simplicity, I have just taken this concept so that you can understand it. Next, the important concept that is asked, that how in a Young's modulus interference patterns are formed. Means we have to show the formation of fringes of bright and dark with the help of Huygens wave theory. So first of all, here we have to use the geometry to show it. After that, one more condition is here. We have to obtain the condition for maxima and minima in this case. Means we have to obtain the condition for maximum intensity, minimum intensity, or another way you can say it, you have to obtain the condition for destructive and constructive interference. So first, in case of Young's double slit experiment, suppose a light source that we have S. So this is the light source S, and this is emitting, obviously if we are taking it point sources, then it will just emit spherical wavefront. So suppose I am taking only the forward directional wavefronts here. So this wavefront we can just make in this form. Suppose these are the wavefronts emitted by this source. Clear? Now according to these wavefronts, we can just take 2 points, and obviously it is the theory of Huygens that every points on the secondary wavefronts, they are acting as the fresh source, that is called secondary wavelets, and all that secondary wavelets are acting obviously as fresh source, and they are again sending the disturbances in forward direction as this source is sending here. So in this way, simple, it is the way to make the coherent sources also. Means we are not taking two different sources, because if we will take the two different sources, then that time there will be slight difference in their frequencies or phases. So in due to that reason, we always convert a single source into two sources. So if you will convert single source into two sources, then definitely the frequency will be automatic constant, and phase difference between that two will be constant also. Means it is very easy to produce the coherent sources by using only one source. So here, by using only one monochromatic source that we are taking here, so if this will send disturbances in forward direction, then we can take any 2 points. So suppose these 2 points are acting as 2 slits here. So this is slit 1 and this is slit 2 that we have. Okay, so we can just write here, this is S1 and this is S2. Now this S1 and S2 will again send the disturbances as S is sending. So let's just form the disturbance pattern here. So if we will form it, then this will be like this, and this is like this again. Simple, in this way we can draw the forward disturbances. Now as these are the places where we are getting obviously the light waves that are propagating in space. Here we are talking about the harmonic waves. So harmonic waves have alternate crust and throw here, and also you know that light is electromagnetic wave. So simple, in electromagnetic waves light has transverse nature, means light will propagate in the form of crust and throws. So simple, here one just that solid lines that we have represented, that is for crust, and this dotted lines we are represented, that is for throws here. So simple, whenever the one crust is falls over another crust or one throw is fall over another throw, then you know that already in wave theory we have discussed it. So that time we are getting the maximum intensities as the amplitudes of two waves that gets added there, and whenever the crust of one that is falling over the throw of other, then that time we are getting minimum intensity. Make you understand, I can just take this condition. Suppose one wave is moving in this way, this is first wave, and another wave means its crust is falling over the and it has different wavelength. That condition you have taken here. So whenever such types of condition is fulfilled, then that time the resultant that is obtained something like this. Means the amplitude of these two gets added. So this line represents the resultant of these two. Means we are getting the maximum intensity in this case. So this is the condition to obtain bright fringes or constructive interference or maxima in the interference pattern. So we can easily construct formation of maximum or minima by using the Huygens wave concept and the wave theory that we have discussed already. So I think that condition is now clear. And again, if we will see the second condition, means whenever the throw of one or crust of one that falling over the throw of other, then that time you can see that obviously this amplitude is positive, this is negative, then they two gets subtracted from each other, then its resultant is obtained something like this. So here in this case we are seeing that this resultant is minima that we are getting of minimum intensity, and if these two amplitudes are exactly equal, why I am saying that word, that if amplitude will be equal then formation of images will be more strong. Reason is that if these two amplitudes will be equal then difference will be 0. So that time the minimum intensity that will be 0, means no of the light will be seen at that point. We will get a complete dark point. Then all of the intensity that time that will be distributed to the maximum intensity. Means a sharp and intense fringes we will see in that case. So these are the conditions in this. Now let's see where we are getting this condition and where we are getting the minimum intensity condition. So if we will see this first point here, the crust of one that is falling over crust of other. So this is the point of maximum intensity. Suppose I am just taking it by dot here. Again here the throw of one is falling over throw of other. Here also we have to take dot. Here we are seeing that here also we can take this dot. Here we are seeing that this throw is falling over the crust. Now so this, suppose I am representing by this word. Now in the same way you can just make this is this one, and again further if you will make then you can get it. So this one, and now this one, this one, and this one you can see here. This one we are getting, and also one more here we are getting. So in this way you can just make the distribution of the light. Means if light you will see in this way, and if you will match this light you can match this one. So in this way if your screen you are placed here, then on that screen the different intensity points we will get in this space here. So that different intensity point here will provide you the position of minimum or maximum intensity. Like this is the position of maximum intensity. So this is known as central bright fringe. Exactly these two if you will make in perfect order, this will be in straight line. So this is central bright fringe. Always we are getting at the center the bright fringes here. Next on this point again we are getting bright fringes, or here also we are getting dark fringes exactly. So one wave that can be obtained from here. So this is dark fringe, again this is bright, this is dark. So like this way. And also in this way you can just make it. So this is the position of dark fringes here. This is position of maximum intensity. Again if you will draw, then this is position of minimum intensity. So simple in this way here by the theory of wave, means by the theory of whenever crust falling over the crust or throw falling over the throw, that time we are just obtaining the formation of alternate maximum minimum intensity. So this redistribution of energy is known as interference of light, and Young's just explained this very successfully by using wave concept of Huygens. So that's why Huygens principle was successful to explain the interference phenomena of light here. I think now that is clear. Then let's discuss how to obtain the condition for maxima and minima. So this construction is very important. This is asked in examination, so you have to just study it also and understand it also, because this is the basic concept for the production of interference pattern. So to obtain the condition for constructive and destructive interference, again we will take two light waves. Suppose this is first is y1 is equal to some a1 sin omega t, and y2 is equal to, we have a2 sin omega t plus phi, where phi is the phase difference between two light waves. Obviously frequency will be same, and we are taking just slightly different amplitudes here, so we can take also equal amplitudes. As I told you why we can take it. Now principle of superposition tells us that the resultant amplitude is or resultant displacement of the wave after superposition, that is given by, if y is the resultant displacement, then y1 it is given by simple y1 plus y2. Means this is algebraic sum of the displacements of two waves here. So if you will put it here, then this will be a1 sin omega t plus a2 sin omega t plus phi. We can explain, actually we can just use the theory. First of all, let's explain it. So this will be sin a plus b, this is sin omega t cos phi plus cos omega t sin phi here. And now let's take sin omega t and cos omega t at different places. So if you will take sin, first of all let's take cos or sin, whatever you can take, a1 plus a2 cos phi into sin omega t plus, we can take here, this is a2 sin phi, a2 sin phi into cos omega t. Now in place of this one, as all these things are constant, a1 is amplitude, that is constant, a2 is amplitude, that is constant, and phi is the constant phase difference, that is the condition of coherent sources. Now if here this is not the condition of coherent sources, then in that case we cannot replace this term by any another constant. So here, as sources are coherent, then we can replace this equation by another constant here. So suppose we are just replacing this by some r here, cos theta, here sin omega t, plus in place of a2 sin phi, again these are constant, I am just replacing it by some ar sin theta cos omega t. So it means that we have just taken here r cos theta, this is equal to a1 plus a2 cos phi, and r sin theta, this is equal to a2 sin phi. So if we will replace this one, then we will get the final equation, that is this final equation will be y is equal to r sin omega t plus theta. So we are again seeing that after superposition of such types of wave which have equal frequencies and constant phase difference, they are again representing a harmonic wave. Mass after superposition it is also propagating in the form of harmonic wave. Now we can see what is the resultant amplitude here. So let's find out what is resultant amplitude. So resultant amplitude can be find out by this. If we will square these equations and we will add it, then obviously here we will get r square cos square theta, r square sin square theta. If we will add it, then sin square theta plus cos square theta, that will be 1. Then obviously we will get here from r square. This will be equal to a1 plus a2, a1 plus a2 cos phi whole square plus a2 square sine square phi. Now we can expand this one. So this will be equal to a1 square plus a2 square cos square phi plus 2a1 a2 cos phi plus a2 square sine square phi. So here from this equation to this equation, if we will add it, then again we will get a2 square as sine square theta plus cos square theta, that will be 1. Then a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos phi. This is the r square, and also we know that this represent r square, that is intensity is directly proportional to this r square. So in that term we can simply represent this one. If you have to find out what is the intensity, this is the resultant amplitude of the wave after superposition, and intensity of the wave that can be written as something kr square. So if you will just write it, then this will be equal to ka1 square plus ka2 square plus 2k a1 a2 cos of phi here. And also in place of ka1 square we can write i1 square, sorry i1 not i1 square, i1 here we can write in place of this i2 as and in place of light, I have just told you before while we were discussing the coherent addition of sources, here in place of this we can write 2 times root i1 i2, and here this is cos phi. So this is the resultant intensity of the waves here. I think these two conditions are now clear, how to find out resultant amplitude and how to find out resultant intensity. Now we can just obtain the conditions for maxima and minima, or simple, if you have to find out what will be the maximum intensity or minimum intensity, then how can we find it? So here intensity, this equation we have, then this will have maximum value whenever cos phi will have maximum value. So cos phi will have maximum value whenever we will put the value of cos phi, that is plus 1. So if we will put the value of cos phi plus 1, then let's see first of all this equation. So from this I will be equal to, if we will take k as a common, then this will be a1 square plus a2 square plus 2 a1 a2 cos phi is equal to plus 1. First condition that we are taking. Then I will be maximum here. So I maximum can be given by this, and this is a1 plus a2 whole square. So this is the maximum intensity in any interference pattern. So in this way we can also obtain what will be the minimum intensity here. So to obtain the minimum intensity, we will put the value of cos phi, that is the minimum value of cos phi, this is equal to minus 1. So if you will put the minimum value of cos phi here in this equation, then I will be equal to, if we will take a as the common, then this is a1 square plus a2 square minus 2a1 a2. This is equal to k a1 minus a2 whole square. So this is the minimum intensity that we will get, and this is maximum intensity. And in this case, if later I will tell you, if we are taking the constant phase, then what will be the condition here. Now we can take the ratio of maximum intensity and minimum intensity also. So this is equal to k will be cancelled out. This is equal to a1 plus a2 whole square to the a1 minus a2 whole square. Simple, this is the ratio of maximum intensity to the minimum intensity. Sometimes numerical problems are asked based on these things. Next concept, that is a very important question, conceptual question is asked here. So that in case of interference, energy is conserved here. So as interference is the only redistribution of energy is taking place here, no any creation or distortion of energy is going on here. So we can just prove it by using these two values of the I minima and maxima. So simple, if we have to see that whether energy is conserved or not, then we can take the average intensity here. If the average intensity will be equal to the sum of the two intensities that are superimposing over each other, then obviously that light wave, there is no violation of the law of conservation of energy, because these are maximum intensity and these are minimum intensity, and its average intensity will represent the average energy after superposition. So let's take that the average value of this intensity, that will be I maximum plus I minimum. One more thing here, don't have to be confused. In case of wave theory, we are taking or we are just explaining energy in terms of intensity here. So later that thing will be solved whenever we will discuss the photoelectric concept, and we will use the Einstein's theory to explain it. Then we will know that the energy that is depending on the frequency, not on the intensity. But still in the wave concept, we are just representing energy concept by the intensity. So that's why we can just represent it here also, as it is successful to explain this one. So that's why we can take it. Now if we can, we will take the value of I maxima. The value of I maxima, that will be equal to here. You can take this one. Then this is K A1 square plus A2 square plus 2A1 A2, and I minima, that is K A1 square plus A2 square minus 2A1 A2, and this is upon 2. So obviously if we will expand it, then this will be cancelled out, and this will be obtained 2K A1 square plus 2K A2 square, and we can take 2 as the common. Then finally we will get K A1 square plus K A2 square after solution, and K A1 square is equal to I1, K A2 square is equal to I2. Then we are seeing that the average intensity is nothing but it is the sum of the intensities of first source and second source. So obviously here is no violation of the law of conservation of energy. So we can simply say that in interference, energy is always conserved. So these are the basic questions that is asked here. So let's now discuss in next class the numerical problem that is asked from refraction based on wave concept, and also interference. After that we will discuss diffraction cases. So I think student, whatever we have discussed, that is clear. Then let's end the class here today. Next thing we will discuss in next class.